Hey guys, Ben with Income Options Trading here. Wanted to go over what you get from Trade Automation Toolbox when you sign up with my link. So normally you get a 14-day free trial, but if you sign up through my link, you get a 30-day free trial. So after you sign up, this is what it's going to look like. At the top here, you'll be able to start your free trial whenever. So you can sign up and then wait a little bit before you start your free trial, so you don't have to learn everything right away or rush into it. So that's one nice thing about this. Over here, you have the TAT, the TAT, Trade Automation Toolbox program, whether it's on your personal laptop or on a VPS, a virtual private server, would use this. And then the CWS, the Trade Workstation for interactive brokers. This is the build that you want to use for Trade Automation Toolbox at this moment in time. The founder, Kyle, always makes sure he tests the software against these builds to make sure that there's no issues. So you'll want to download this build instead of the most recent build from Interactive Brokers. He does have some knowledge base, some setup instructions, FAQs, and videos down here. These are good to read and look into before you click your free trial. This will give you everything you need to know. There's only a couple of videos. A lot of it is in a website in text form. So I'm going to be making some videos in the future to go over some of this stuff. I know some people like to be shown how to do it instead of reading through it. So that's my plan here in the future. But just wanted to show you guys behind the scenes a little bit what you get. When you do have the free trial, I believe it is the intermediate package that you get for free. So it's 80 contracts per day, which is per leg. So there's 20 iron condors you can do per day. If you do 0 DTE iron condors like I do, you can put 20 on per day for free during your free trial, which is 30 days when you sign up through my link. You don't have to put in any credit card information or anything like that, so it's free to use. Give it a try. Wanted to go over some of the nuances with interactive brokers. I come from tastytrade and Thinkorswim and Robinhood as my three main platforms that I've used in the past. One thing that's different with interactive brokers is you have to choose which market data you want to purchase and use. So I'm going to go over that and then a couple other things you might be interested in when you first sign up with interactive brokers. So I do have a referral link if you're interested. If you haven't used interactive brokers, you can use it. You can get up to $1,000 in IBKR stock based on how much you put into your account. I'll put that referral link here if you are interested. But after you sign up for interactive brokers, which once I signed up, it took about a day or two to get all signed up. First deposit was instant. Second deposit took 4 days, so keep that in mind. I don't know if everyone gets this email, but I got this email right away when I signed up, was about this learn and earn. So if you go under education after you sign in and go to learn and earn, you can watch these courses and take some quizzes to get some credits for options, futures, and bond trading. Easy way to get $100 in credits for options, futures, and bonds if you're going to be trading those. So back to the main page, you're going to want to go into manage your account and go to config your account. And Trade Automation Toolbox only uses SPX, and this is the only thing I use interactive brokers for. So what I'm going to show today is just the absolute minimum to get the SPX data that you need for Trade Automation Toolbox. So under user settings, you're going to want to go to market data subscriptions. And then here are the two that you'll end up needing. So it's the Opera US Options Exchange. This is $1.50 per month, but it's waived if you reach $20 in commissions. And then the second one you need is US Security Snapshot and Future Values Bundle. And this is waived if you reach $30 in commissions, and this one's $10 a month. One thing to note is you need at least $500 in your individual account in order to purchase these subscriptions. So you need at least $512 right away in order to get these signed up. But I would recommend more, because if your account drops below $500, I think after the month, the subscription would be canceled. So if you don't have these already, about subscriptions, you click on this gear here for configure, and you'll scroll down, and the first one will be under quote bundles. And you scroll down to the bottom. This is where you get your US Security Snapshot and Futures Value Bundle. So you want to make sure that that is checked. And then under level 1 NBBO, down at the bottom, here is where you'll have your Opera. So you want to check that. And then you click continue, and then it'll get you set up. So those are the two bundles you need to trade SPX for Trade Automation Toolbox. I'm going to go over some of the VPS programs that I've looked into and that are recommended within the TAT, the Trade Automation Toolbox community. I don't think any three of these are bad choices, but I'm going to give you what I ended up choosing. So for those that don't know, a VPS is a virtual private server. You can kind of think of it as a server out at a data center that is partitioned up into separate sections, and you use one of those sections. So when you set up a VPS, you have your own virtual machine that you can use, and you can choose like the processing power and things like that you need in storage. But basically you can think of it as a computer that's offsite at a data center, so you shouldn't have to worry about internet outages or power interruptions. So that's the main advantage of using the VPS. Also, TAT only uses Windows, so if you have a Mac or a Linux, you'll have to set up a VPS in order to run TAT. So I started out using TAT on my local machine and it works great, but I found that if I'm away, I don't want my laptop at home running, so I decided to go with the VPS, and that way I can have this running in the background. I don't have to worry about my own laptop at my house, and it makes things a lot simpler. A lot of people use VPSs with algorithm trading or bot trading, similar to what TAT is. I'm going to go over the 3 companies that I've seen a lot. First one is going to be Contabo. I think I'm saying that right. It's a German company. So some people in the community use this. This is the cheapest of the 3. The main feedback I've seen is that there have been some updates during trading hours. So the VPS has been down during trading hours. It's only happened a couple times, it seems like, but still, that was the main deflector for me. To run TAT and interactive brokers on one machine, you need at least 4 gigs of RAM. So you could go with this VPS 1, which is 6 gigs of RAM, but I'd probably go up to the 16 gigs of RAM just so you're safe. If you go into here, and we'll just select 1 month for now. I'm in Central Time Zone, so this is my best latency. It's also the cheapest at $2.10 additional. Storage type, go with the lowest, and then TAT needs a Windows 2022 server, so make sure you click that, and that's an extra $18. So you can see that it's $32.60 per month to run this, and this one-time setup fee actually goes away or reduces based on your term length. So you could do that if you know you're going to do this for the long term. This is the cheapest of the 3. It's pretty good performance, and I haven't seen any bad feedback regards to performance on a day-to-day basis. It's just there have been some outages for maintenance during trading hours, so that's why I didn't choose this one. Next one is High Velocity. This is the one I ultimately chose. Price is in the middle of the 3. I ended up going with the 8 gigs of RAM, which is VPS.MD. It's $14 per month, but for that Windows 2022 server, it's an extra $22. So it comes out to $36 a month. So pretty close to the other one I showed at $32, but I haven't seen any downtime during trading hours or people complaining of that in the community. And also the founder, Kyle, this is what he uses. And then the third one is Windows 365 Cloud PC. One of the advantages of this is it's a cloud PC instead of a VPS, so that virtually there should be no downtime with this cloud PC. If they have to do maintenance on one server, they'll just move you over, so there should be 0 interruptions. This one, when I went through it, it ended up being, I think, $45 a month. So you could do this one. It's about $10 more, $9 more than High Velocity, but it's a good solution. And actually in the TAT write-ups, they have Windows 365 in there as a recommendation. Wanted to go over how I set up my VPS through High Velocity. So after I purchased it, it took about 2 or 3 minutes to get it initiated, so really quick. So when you log in here, you'll have your all devices. So I'm just going to click in here, and you're going to start out with device details. Up on the upper right here, you'll see that it's on right now, and you'll have the option to power off the machine, restart the machine, reload, which is reloading the operating software. So if you want to basically wipe your machine and start over, you can click that. And then console, which will open up a separate browser, and it'll show you your machine as if you're looking there. So we'll actually start with console when we first open it up, and then you'll have your temporary login details. So when you open this up, you'll have either be able to copy this for your remote desktop program, or you have a .rdp connect file that you can download. So I'll download this for when we end up going into remote desktop. And then down here, you'll have your login. So you have administrator as your login. And then here is your password. So if you click this, then it'll show your password. And this is just temporary, and they recommend you change it as soon as you log in. First, let's start off by clicking console, and it should open up in a separate browser. There it is. So over on the left-hand side here, I'm going to make this full screen. I'm going to click the A. Down here is Control-Alt-Delete, so I'll click that. And there's your password, so I'm just going to move this off screen, and then I'm going to type in my password, BX. Hopefully this works. All right, cool. So first time logging in, so I'll just go through some of the things that I did and recommend. I am also not a computer whiz. I have no expertise in this. So this is what I did. Whether or not it's the actual way of doing it, I don't know. So follow this guide at your own risk. So first thing I'm going to do is make sure my machine is up to date. So I'm going to go into settings, and I'm going to scroll down to update and security. And I'm going to click install now, and that should download and install all of the security and update tools credentials of Windows. We'll let that go in the background. I go back. I am also going to create a separate sign-in, because I don't want to sign in to the administrator every time. I want to sign in to a second-hand account that doesn't have administrator privileges, so that if a program I'm using ends up being hacked and I end up having a hacker come on, then they're only on my secondary account instead of the administrator account. So I'm going to go to other users here and click add someone else to this PC, and then double click users. And I'm going to make a new one. I'm going to call it IoT, give it a password that I want. And since it's me using this login, I'm not going to make the user change it. And I'm just going to make it so the user can't change the password and that it doesn't expire. So I'm going to create that user. And now I'm going to go in and open up or start remote desktop capabilities. So I'm going to go back into settings here. I'm going to go into system and scroll all the way down the left hand side to remote desktop. I'm going to turn this on so I can use the RDP software instead of this console through high velocity. And I'm going to turn on the other account. So down here, I'm going to use select users that can remotely access this PC. I'm going to click add, and then I'm going to type in the username that I created and click check names to make sure that it's correct. And there it auto fixes it, and click OK. Now I'll be able to remote into both my administrator and this secondary user account through RDP. And RDP is just the Microsoft remote desktop software. Another thing that we'll end up doing, or an added level of security, is doing two-factor authentication for logging in. I'm going to use Duo Security for that. I'll show you how to do that in a separate video. Now it wants me to restart. I'm going to wait on that because I want to make sure I have everything set up before I restart. I've had some issues with the admin account locking me out, so I'm actually going to go in and turn off the lockout feature. So I'm going to go down here and start typing group, and then edit group policy in the control panel, and computer configuration, Windows settings, security settings, account policies, account lockout policy. I'm going to turn off, so I'm going to go 0, click apply and click OK. And now it won't be locked out. The reason Windows has the lockout is for hackers that are using brute force. So if someone can find your IP address and your user count and they know that you're using a VPS, hackers can just brute force where they just keep guessing passwords until they log in. So if you don't have two-factor authentication, you want to have this lockout feature still on because you don't want hackers to get in, obviously. Next, I'm going to change my password. So I'm going to go back into settings here. Under accounts, sign-in options, there's our password. I'm going to click change, and I'm going to type in my current password, and then I'm going to change the password. All right. So now I should have a new password. So I have my VPS set up with the minimum. I'm going to set up two-factor authentication in the next video. So before I set up Duo Security, I'm actually going to move over to the RDP so I don't have to work in this browser anymore. And it should make things a little simpler because when you're using RDP, you can actually copy paste from your local computer onto the remote computer. But when you're going through this console, you can't. So it'll make things a little bit easier with some copy and pasting some data strings. So I'm going to log out and go through how to do the RDP. Today I'm going to show you how to set up two-factor authentication into your login to your VPS when you sign in through your remote desktop connection software. On my screen here on the left hand side, I have my virtual machine on my VPS, and on the right hand side is my local machine. On the right hand side, I went to signup.duo.com, and here you can sign up for Duo. It says trial, but as long as you have less than 10 users, then you won't need to pay for it. If you just sign up and just use it for what I have, then you only have 2 users, so it'll be free. At least for now, hopefully it is forever. So once you sign up, start your trial, it'll get you a link to set up the Duo mobile security app on your phone as an admin, and then we should be able to do everything we need to with our phone and with our computer. The next thing we're going to go to is admin.duosecurity.com/login, and we're going to log in. They'll send you a push to your Duo app, so I will do that and click approve, and it'll log you in. So the first thing we're going to do here is on the left hand side, we are going to go to applications, and then we're going to, on the upper right hand corner, select protect an application, and we're going to search for RDP. If I could spell RDP. So Microsoft RDP, we're going to click protect. It'll bring you into here, and it'll give you an integration key, a secret key, and an API host name. So these are the 3 things that you need on your virtual machine in order to set up your two-factor authentication. So over on your virtual machine now, I'm going to open up Firefox. So in this browser, I'm going to go to dl.duosecurity.com/ duo-win-login-latest.exe. I'll have the link in the description below, and I click enter and it should automatically download your exe file. So I'm gonna open that. So here's where you'll need your integration key, secret key, and API hostname, like I said. So I'm gonna hit next. First it asks for your API hostname. So I can just click copy on my local machine, come over to the VM and click Control V, and it should paste that in there. Click next. Now we need the integration key, copy, Control V, and then the secret key, copy, Control V, click next. Then we wanna make sure that these top two are checked. So the first one, we wanna make sure that we can get into our account if Duo security is offline. And the second one is an automatic push. So after you hit enter for your password, it'll automatically send a push. Click next. We don't need to enable smart card support. Click next. We don't need to check that one. And then click install and finish. So now we have everything we need on our virtual machine in order to do two-factor authentication. Coming back to our local machine, I'm going to go to users on the left-hand side. Normally you'd have 0 users, and you would click add user on the upper right-hand corner. And I would suggest starting with just your secondary accounts, not your administrator account, but whatever you call that, I would put that in here. Mine was called IoT, so I would put IoT, put active, and then if you scroll all the way down to phone, you want to click add phone and put in your phone number. They'll send you a text with a link, so you can click that link and it'll add this account to your Duo Security mobile app, so that when you log on to this user account, then it should send a push through your mobile phone to accept. I'm going to test to make sure that it works. I am going to go to power, disconnect, go back to remote desktop connection, and I'm going to log in to my secondary account and see what it does. Click OK, click yes, and you can see, so I logged on and this is the window that pops up. So Duo security. So now it sent me something on my phone, so I can log into my phone and click approve, and now we're in. So now we're into our secondary account here. And if you haven't done this on your administrator account, I would go back and do that on your local machine and then test to make sure you can log on to your VM. And if that's the case, that's the last time I think I'm going to log on to my administrator account. And now I'm going to do the rest of the stuff on the secondary account, which still prompts for the administrator password. I'm on my VPS, my virtual machine, and I'm going to go over how to install Interactive Brokers, TWS, the Trader Workstation, and Trade Automation Toolbox, TAT, the server build on the virtual machine here. So I logged into Trade Automation online here, and I'm going to download the TWS build 10.19.2a here. It's important that you download Trader Workstation from TAT. If you do a newer build, TAT might not work with Interactive Brokers. So you want to make sure that you download this version here. I clicked download, and now it's going to install. Should be pretty straightforward, nothing really specific we need to do here. I'm going to click Run Trader Workstation and click Finish, and it should pop up when it's done. I'm going to open it up, and I'm just going to go over how you initially set this up. So first thing you'll want to do is you want to make sure that your Interactive Brokers time is linked up to the virtual machine, which it is in this case. I am Central Time Zone, and this computer is in Eastern Time Zone. So I want to make sure that everything, when I set up TAT later, is in Eastern Time Zone. So we go in here, I'm going to go into Settings, Configure, and the first thing we're going to look at is under API, go into Settings. And you'll want to check the enable ActiveX and socket clients, and then uncheck the read-only API. And then also you'll want to take note of your socket port, which is 7496 usually. Then we want to go into precautions under API, and we want to make sure that bypass order precautions or API orders is checked. The other thing you can do is you can go under lock and exit. Typically you have to log in to Interactive Brokers every day, but if you do auto restart and make sure it's at like 11:45 or even like 11:30, then you won't have to for a week, but you'll still want to go in each morning and make sure that it's up and running. So that's all the settings you need to do for Interactive Brokers. I'm going to minimize that. Now, since I'm on the server, I'm going to click TAT server build and download that. It'll download as a zip file. So I'll open that. First, we'll want to extract it. So I'm going to go back to downloads. I'm going to right click, go extract all. Then in the unzipped folder, the install.ps1, I'm going to click on that. I'm going to right click and go run with PowerShell. And the first time you run this, it's going to error out, and you'll have to turn on developer mode on your computer. So I'll show you what that looks like. Do you want to change the execution policy? I'm going to say no. So N, enter. Do you want to run the software from this untrusted publisher? Run once, R. So now it says we need to acquire developer license. So we'll press enter, and then we'll want to do R for run once. And then here it'll open up developer mode. So right now it's off, so you want to turn that on. Yes, to turn on developer mode. and apply. So we should be good there. So now we'll want to run this again. So I clicked enter to exit out, and I'll right click on this and do run with PowerShell. And this time it should work. And you can tell the screen looks different than before. Successfully added. When I go to start typing in Trade Automation Toolbox, that'll be an app. And if we go into settings, port is 7496, which is what the TWS was. And you'll want to make sure that your market close is set to whatever time is on your machine. So I am Eastern time zone, so 4 p.m. is correct. If you have any questions on how to set up TAT and interactive brokers on your virtual machine, let me know and I can help out. Thanks for watching.